Captain Jack Rains hated formal dinners, especially when they involved powerful alien monarchs who spoke in riddles and took offense at the smallest things. But tonight, he had no choice. As Earth's official ambassador to the Zyrelli Imperium, he had to smile, bow, and pretend he knew what he was doing. The palace hall was huge, glowing with soft blue lights. Tall crystal pillars stretched up to a ceiling that looked like stars. Zyrelli nobles sat at long tables covered in silver dishes, alien fruits and steaming pots of glowing soup. Strange music floated in the air, like whispers carried by the wind. Jack sat at the main table, next to Princess Avon, the eldest daughter of Empress Soria. Avon was tall, elegant with light purple skin, silver eyes, and curved horns that glowed faintly. She wore a royal cloak made of shimmering scales. Jack had met her once before. She had been polite, serious, and strangely curious about humans. Tonight she looked different, nervous but also hopeful. "Captain Rains," Avon said, her voice soft but clear. "Do you enjoy your meal?" Jack nodded. "Delicious. I just hope that glowing soup doesn't make me grow another liver." Avon blinked. "I assure you human biology is quite resistant to our spice enzymes. Only mild hallucinations at worst." He laughed. That's comforting. I've had worse on Earth." Avon smiled slightly. "Your species enjoys danger, it seems?" Jack grinned. "We don't enjoy it. We just deal with it when it shows up." She tilted her head. "That is ... admirable." Then came the moment. That changed everything, trying to lighten the mood. Jack reached into his jacket and pulled out a small white flower, earth-grown, a lunar orchid. It was a harmless gesture. Held it out to her. "Here," he said with a wink. "A gift. Earth custom. When a man likes a woman's company, he gives her a flower." Dam stared at it, her silver eyes wide. Around them the music stopped. Several Zyrelli nobles gasped. The Empress leaned forward. The air went still. Jack frowned. "Did I do something wrong?" Avon slowly took the flower with trembling hands, then stood. She turned to face the Empress and raised the flower in both hands. "I accept his bond." The room erupted. Zyrelli nobles began whispering. Some looked shocked, others nodded in approval. Few clapped lightly. Jack blinked. "Wait, what?" Avon turned to him. Her eyes were glowing. "You have honored me with the ritual of bloom. By offering me the white seal, you have asked for union. I accept, Captain Rains. As per the ancient codes, you and I are now bonded." Jack felt like the floor was falling away. "Whoa, whoa, whoa," he said quickly. "That wasn't I didn't mean, it was just a flower." Avon's expression softened, and a beautiful one. "Your choice is perfect. The lunar orchid matches the symbol of first promise." "Yeah, because it glows and I thought it looked cool." The Empress stood. Her voice was powerful and calm. "It is done," she said. "The Terran envoy has bonded with my daughter. The House of Stars shall welcome Earth as kin." Jack stood. Up to, holding his hands up. "I think there's been a misunderstanding. In my culture, this doesn't mean marriage. It just means I enjoyed dinner." The hall went quiet again. Avon looked at him carefully. "Captain, ... do you wish to withdraw your offer?" Jack saw her face. Not angry, not offended, just ... hurt. He sighed. "Don't want to offend you. I didn't know the meaning of the gesture." "You followed the ritual perfectly," she said. "Your culture may differ, but our tradition is clear." At that moment, the side door burst open. A younger Zyrelli woman stormed in. She was like Avon, but with sharper eyes and shorter horns. Her cloak was black and gold, and she moved like a warrior. "Sister?" she called out. "You cannot claim him alone." Jack stared. "Wait, what?" Princess Vexa strode up to the main table. "If he is to bond with the royal line, he must. Take both daughters. You know the rule. Cannot ignore the pact of blood." Avon frowned. "That law was passed 6 generations ago. It hasn't been enforced, but it still stands." Vexa said, turning to Jack. "Human, if you wish. To keep your bond with my sister, then you must take me as well." Jack looked between them, his brain trying to reboot. You're telling me I just accidentally proposed to one alien princess? A. And now I'm being told I have to marry too? Vexa crossed her arms. Correct. This is not how my week was supposed to go, Jack muttered. Empress Soria stepped forward. Perhaps we should allow the human time to consider his place in our traditions. This is, after all, a new bond between our worlds. Jack nodded quickly. Yes, thank you, Your Majesty. I would very much like some time to figure out how not to start an intergalactic war by giving someone a flower. The Empress gave a small nod, and the nobles slowly returned to their meals. But the damage was done. Later that night, Jack sat in the guest wing of the palace, staring at the glowing walls. The lunar orchid sat in a crystal vase beside him, now surrounded by ceremonial silk.has come device buzzed. It was Ambassador Keller, his superior back on Earth. What did you do? Keller asked, his voice sharp. I gave her a flower. A flower. Well, Jack, do you realize you might have just created a diplomatic marriage alliance? Mean too? It was just a friendly gift. Well, friendly or not, we now have Zyrelli nobles calling you chosen blood. You know what that means? No, but it doesn't sound casual. It means their ancient royal family sees you as part of a prophesied union that brings balance and strength through new blood. You might have just married into the most powerful empire in this sector. Jack rubbed his face. So, ... What do I do? Keller sighed. Don't make them angry. Don't say no, at least not directly. Keep them calm, keep the peace. We'll figure it out in the meantime. Try not to give anyone else a flower. Jack ended the call and leaned back. Then he heard a soft knock at the door. He opened it to find Avin and Vexa standing there, both dressed in ceremonial robes, both looking calm and very serious. We wish to speak with you, Avin said. Jack nodded slowly. Let me guess about the ... marriage thing. Vexa stepped forward. We do not expect you to understand our customs, but you have sparked something powerful, something rare. The stars may have chosen you for a reason. Jack blinked. I think the stars are playing a joke. Avin smiled softly. Perhaps, but sometimes jokes are the beginning of legends. Jack looked at them both. 2 alien princesses. 1 ancient tradition, 1 accidental proposal, and somehow, a strange feeling in his chest. This is going to get way more complicated, isn't it? He asked. Avin and Vexa answered together, yes. Captain Jack Rains had faced pirates, space storms, and angry generals. But nothing prepared him for breakfast with 2 alien princesses, both of whom believed they were now married to him. He sat at a crystal table, slowly chewing on something that looked like blue toast. Princess Avin sipped glowing tea on his left. Princess Vexa leaned back on his right, her arms crossed. You eat very quietly for someone in the middle of a galactic scandal, Vexa said. Jack looked at her. I'm trying not to choke.
Ow.
Toast bites back. That's venom bread, she replied. Our people eat it for courage. Jack sighed. Wonderful. Because what I need most right now is courage or a time machine. Avin set down her tea. You are troubled. You understand this is ... sudden for you. But you've already made a gesture that cannot be undone. I didn't mean to propose to either of you, Jack said carefully, let alone both. Vexa raised an eyebrow, yet here we are. Jack rubbed his forehead. Look, Earth doesn't do things like this. Our marriages are between 2 people, most of the time. We don't have royal bonding laws or ancient flower rituals that double. As proposals, Avin looked thoughtful. But this is bigger than just marriage, Jack. This is about alliance. Your flower was seen by every noble. You were accepted by royal blood. You're now part of the court, whether you like it or not. Vexa leaned forward. And not everyone is happy about that. Jack's eyes narrowed. What do you mean? Vexa lowered her voice. Some nobles see your bond as a threat. You're an outsider, a human. And now you're suddenly close to the throne? That makes you a problem. Jack pushed his plate away. Great. First, I'm accidentally engaged. No. I'm a political target, Avon nodded. What? Yes. And that's why we need your help. Jack laughed nervously. My help? I'm not a warrior, not a politician. I'm just a Terran diplomat who gave someone a flower. You are also smart, Avon said, and bold. You speak your mind. That is rare in our court. And it's exactly what we need. Jack leaned back. What are you two planning? Vex's smile was sharp. We want change. Our empire is strong, but trapped in old traditions. You've shaken those by accident. Now we want to use that ... on purpose. Before Jack could answer, a small drone floated into the room. It projected a message in the air from Terran High Command subject, urgent strategic update Zarelli marriage, TRIY. Jack groaned. Of course they're calling it that. He tapped the message open. Ambassador Keller appeared as a hologram. Jack, Keller said, his voice serious. The council met last night. After reviewing the political situation in the Zarelli Empire, we've come to a decision. We strongly encourage you to maintain the royal bond. Both of them. Jack stared. Are you serious? We know it's unusual, Keller continued. But this is bigger than personal feelings. If the royal family accepts Earth as kin, we gain powerful diplomatic access. Trade, defense, technology, all open to us. You're not just a diplomat now. You're a bridge between species. The message ended. Vexa crossed her arms. So your people support the bond? Jack looked down. They do. Avon smiled, and perhaps this union was meant to be. Stood up and paced. Hold on. I'm not ready to get married, let alone be some kind of galactic peace symbol. This is insane. Avian stood too. Then perhaps you need to see what we see. Later that day, Jack followed the princesses through the capital city of Zarelli Prime. Towering spires glowed in soft colors, and hovercraft moved through quiet skies. The city looked peaceful, but everywhere Jack turned, he saw armored guards. And sharp eyes? People are watching me, Jack whispered. Yes, Vexa said. Some are curious, others ... not so friendly. They entered the Hall of Unity, the oldest chamber in the palace. Inside stood massive statues of former rulers. Ivan led Jack to a glass wall showing the stars beyond. Our people believe. Stars choose the path, she said. But sometimes, someone must push the path forward. She turned to him. You're not here by mistake. You've challenged tradition. You've made the nobles talk. Some want to welcome Earth. Others want to silence you. Jack frowned. And you? What do you want? Avon stepped closer. I want peace, a new future, and I want someone beside me who doesn't bow, someone who speaks honestly. Vexa joined them. I want a partner who will challenge me, not just obey. You insulted me at dinner without meaning to. That takes nerve. I respect that. Jack raised an eyebrow. You two are ... very different. But we agree on one thing, Vexa said. You're more useful to us alive, married, and annoying. Jack chuckled. Well, thanks for the vote of confidence. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the far side of the palace. The windows shook. Alarms blared. Guards shouted. A security drone zoomed in. Attack on the outer wing. Unknown assailants. Avon grabbed Jack's arm. They're after you. Vexa pulled out a plasma dagger. Stay close. Minutes later, smoke filled the hallway as the three of them ran. Guards clashed with masked attackers wearing black armor. Jack ducked as a blaster shot hit the wall near him. Why are they targeting me? Jack shouted. You're the symbol of change, Vexa yelled. Kill you, and the old ways stay. They turned a corner and were cut off by two attackers. Avon raised her hand and released a wave of glowing energy, a pulse that knocked the attackers into the wall. Jack blinked. You have powers? We're not just pretty horns, Vexa. Smirked, stabbing another attacker with her dagger. Jack picked up a fallen blaster. I really didn't sign up for this. Avon pointed toward a secret lift. In there. Quickly. They entered the lift, and it sealed shut. Breathing heavily, Jack looked at them both. This is insane. Yes, Avin said. And dangerous, Vexa added. But also, Avin said, this is what change feels like. That evening, the attack had failed. The attackers were arrested. But the message was clear. Jack was now a target in his room. Jack stared at the ceiling, thinking. Then came another knock at his door. He opened it. Avin and Vexa stood there, robes replaced by royal armor. Both serious. We have spoken to our Labessa. Mother, Avin said. She believes you should leave the palace for your safety. But we disagree, Vexa said. Jack crossed his arms. So what do you want me to do? Avin stepped forward.
We want you to stay.
Stand with us. Speak in the Great Council tomorrow. Jack's eyes widened. The council? With all the nobles? That's suicide? They expect you to run, Vexa said. But if you speak, if you claim the bond proudly, ... it will shake them. Act. Looked between them. Two powerful women. A growing war of tradition versus future. His accidental flower had started something no one expected, and now everyone was waiting to see what the human would do. He took a deep breath. I'll do it. Captain Jack Rains had never been so nervous in his life. Tomorrow he would stand before the Zyrelli High Council, a room filled with powerful aliens who either wanted him dead, married, or both. For a guy who just gave a flower to be polite, things had escalated fast. He stood at the palace balcony, watching twin moons rise over the crystal city. Behind him, the air shimmered as Princess Avin approached. You're thinking again? She said softly. Jack smiled faintly. I do that. Sometimes, especially when half the Empire wants my head. Avin stepped beside him, her silver eyes reflecting the moons. They fear change. You represent something new, something they can't control. And what about you? Jack asked, turning to her. What do you see me as? Avin paused, then looked at him. I see a man who did not bow, even when he didn't understand the rules. That makes you dangerous to them. But it also makes you important to me. Jack's heart skipped. Her voice was calm, but there was warmth behind it. Just then, the doors opened. Vexa entered. Her cloak swaying, her usual sharp tone replaced by something quieter. Romance under moonlight, she teased. How traditional, Jack chuckled. Nervously, it's not what it looks like. Vexa raised an eyebrow. So, you weren't about to kiss my sister? Jack turned red. I was just ... talking. Avin said nothing. But the look she gave Jack said more than words ever could. Vexa walked to the window and looked out. The council won't listen to words alone tomorrow. You need to show them something real. What? Jack asked. Strength, she said. Courage and unity. Jack narrowed his eyes. You mean the bond? Vexa nodded. Declare us both before the council. If you truly stand with us, they can't break tradition without declaring civil war. Jack hesitated. That feels like I'd be using marriage as a weapon. Avin shook her head. No, you'd be using it as a shield. And right now, that might be the only thing protecting you and us. Jack looked at them both. One princess wise and calm, the other fierce and bold, and somehow, both had accepted him. The next day, the Grand Council Hall. The hall was massive. Seats of polished stone formed a wide circle around a glowing central platform. Dozens of nobles sat in long robes, eyes glowing faintly. Horns lit with silent energy. At the center stood Empress Soria, regal and still as a mountain. Jack stood beside Avin and Vexa on the central platform, wearing formal Zyrelli armor, silver. Trimmed with Earth's flag on one shoulder and the royal crest on the other, a drone hovered above, broadcasting the meeting across the galaxy. Let it be recorded. The Empress said that Captain Jack Rains of Terra stands before this council. A noble rose. His robe was red and his voice cold. This outsider has twisted sacred traditions. A gift meant for peace turned into manipulation. This cannot stand. Another noble stood. He brings chaos. He does not belong in our bloodline. More murmurs followed, voices raised, accusations. Jack stepped forward. May I speak? He asked. trying to keep his voice steady. The Empress nodded. Jack took a breath. I didn't come here to break your laws. I came here to make peace. When I gave that flower, I didn't know what it meant to you, but I know now. He turned to Avon. She didn't laugh at me. She welcomed me. Like then to Vexa. She didn't threaten me. She protected me. Back to the council. And yes, maybe I don't fully understand your world, but I want to learn. I want to be part of it, not as an invader, not as a tool, but as an ally. He paused, which is why I declare my bond fully and openly to both daughters. Of Empress Soria, gasps echoed through the chamber. Jack continued, louder this time. If tradition says I must bond with both, then so be it. I choose them both. And if you say, I do not belong here, then I ask you, who decides what belongs? The past or the future? The room went silent. Even the Empress looked surprised. Avon reached out and held Jack's hand. Vexa placed hers on top. And in that moment, a pulse of light burst from their joined hands, a royal flare, ancient and powerful. The ritual bond had been completed. Before the entire galaxy, moments later, a loud crack rang out. A shot fired from the upper gallery, a plasma bolt meant for Jack. Avon's eyes widened. Jack. But before the bolt hit, Vexa moved. Her body crashed into Jack's, knocking him down as the shot burned through her side. Guards swarmed the area. Screams rang out. Jack held Vexa in his arms as she groaned in pain. No, stay with me. He said, you're going to be okay. I've had worse, she muttered, coughing. That's just a love bite. He laughed, then choked on it. You're insane. Good, you'll fit in. Avon knelt beside them, her hands glowing as she placed them on Vexa's wound. Healing light spread across her sister's body. The Empress stood tall. Find the shooter, she ordered, and bring them to me. A guard returned seconds later, dragging a noble in red robes, the one who had spoken out first. He tried to flee, found this in his hand. The guard showed the weapon. The council gasped. The Empress's face turned cold. You have broken the sacred law. You attempted murder during a binding ritual. The noble trembled. He is not one of us. No, she said. He is more than that now. His family. Later that night, Royal Garden Jack sat under a tree of floating petals. Vexa was resting, healed but sore. Avon sat beside Jack, brushing her fingers against his. You could have died, she whispered. I almost did, he replied. She took a shot for me. She does that. She says she hates softness, but she protects what she loves. Jack smiled. You're both terrifying. Avon leaned her head on his shoulder. And yet you still chose us. He nodded. I believe in this. All of it, the bond, the change. You too. She was quiet for a moment. Then softly, I think I'm starting to love you, Captain. Jack looked at her. I think I'm already halfway there. Vex's voice called out from the balcony. I'll stop whispering romantic nonsense and come inside. There's still assassination. Paperwork to finish. Jack laughed. She's so dreamy, he joked. Avon rolled her eyes. Get up before I let her fill it out in blood. Somewhere in deep space, in a dark chamber aboard a massive cruiser, a hooded figure watched the council. Broadcast. So, the human lives. The princesses bond with him. The Empress supports them. A metallic voice answered. The prophecy was real. The blood of Earth now runs with the House of Stars. The figure slammed a hand on the table. Then we must act. Begin the plan. Screens flickered to life. Images of Earth cities, Zyrelli ships. Jack Rains. Prepare the fleet, the figure whispered. If they will not stop the bond, we will. The palace was quiet that night. But Captain Jack Rains couldn't sleep. He sat near the window, staring at the twin moons of Zyrelli Prime. A cup of something warm sat untouched beside him. Too much had happened in just a few days. A simple peace mission had turned into 2 marriages, a public assassination attempt, and a binding ceremony that changed galactic politics forever. Jack leaned back with a sigh. His thoughts were interrupted when the door opened. Vexa limped in. Still healing. From her injury? Couldn't sleep either? Jack smiled. Let me guess. Royal nightmares or secret security reports? She held up a small datapad. Both you want the bad news now or later? Jack gestured. Eggs have it. Vexa tossed the datapad. Onto the table, our scouts found strange activity at the outer border. Ships unmarked, silent, watching. Spies. Jack asked. More than that, she said. A fleet, hidden behind asteroids, probably cloaked. Someone is preparing for something big. Jack frowned. What? The council just accepted our bond yesterday. Someone doesn't like what it means. Vexa nodded. We made new friends. But we also made new enemies. The secret room later that morning, Avin called them both to the lower wing of the palace. She led them to a sealed door covered in ancient writing. This chamber hasn't been opened in years, she said. But our mother gave me access after the ceremony. The door opened with a deep hum, revealing a small circular room. Walls were covered with star maps and glowing stones. What is this place? Jack asked. It's called the Chamber of Lines, Avin said. It holds the blood records documents about every royal bond across history. Jack looked at the walls. They displayed glowing threads, like strands of energy running across star systems. What are we looking for? He asked. Avin touched one thread. It turned gold. This one, she said. This line shows royal blood connecting with. Non-Zarelli Vexa raised an eyebrow. That's rare. Avin nodded. Only 3 times in our history. Each time, something massive happened right after. Jack stepped closer. Like what? Avin pointed. First time, the Starfall Rebellion. Second, the Red Eclipse War. Third, a planetary collapse. Jack blinked. So, ... Every time someone marries into the royal bloodline from outside, the galaxy burns? Yes, Vexa said. Guess what? You're number 4. Stepped back. Oh no. Avin tapped the wall again. There's more, a prophecy. One that says, when stars join with fire and horn meets hand, the veil shall rise, and shadows will march from the dark. Jack blinked. That sounds very dramatic and not good. Vexa narrowed her eyes. The veil. That's an ancient name for the Shadow Concord, Jack asked. Who are they? Avin answered. A secret faction. Exiled nobles, forgotten generals, and fanatics who believe the Empire must stay pure, free from outside blood. Jack's stomach dropped. So they're coming for us. Vexa nodded. Not just us. Earth too. Meanwhile, in deep space aboard, a dark warship near the asteroid belt, the hooded figure stood before a glowing screen. Ships drifted in silence behind him, sharp, black, and deadly. Our time has come, the voice behind him asked. Will the people follow? He turned. Once the blood of the outsider flows, they will remember who truly leads. The screen showed Jack, then Avin, then Vexa. End them all, he whispered. And let the galaxy burn in purity. Zarelli Palace war preparations. Back at the palace, alarms rang. Multiple ships approaching from the outer system. A guard shouted. Jack, Avin, and Vexa rushed to the war chamber. A giant display showed dozens of red blips moving fast toward Arelli Prime. They're not answering. Hails, a technician said. They won't, Vexa replied. That's a Shadow Concord fleet. Avin turned to her mother, the Empress, who now stood at the center of the chamber, calm but alert. We must prepare to fight, Avin said. Empress Soria looked at Jack. And you, will you stand with us, Captain? Jack looked at Avin. Then Vexa. Both were armored, ready. He nodded. I didn't come here to start a war, but I won't run from one either. Vexa handed him a blaster. Now you're speaking like royalty. The space battle begins. The Zarelli fleet launched from the palace hangars, dozens of sleek ships with glowing blue trails. Jack stood on the command deck of the royal cruiser, flanked by the 2 princesses. Avin gave commands calmly. Vexa barked orders with fire. Jack felt out of place. But also, strangely right. As the shadow fleet appeared, they saw black ships shaped, like blades, silent and cold. Then, without warning, they attacked. Shields up. Avon shouted. Explosions lit up the darkness. Jack fired from a turret station, hitting a shadow drone as it tried to sneak past. "This is insane," he shouted. Vexa laughed beside him. "Now you're having fun." Their ship was hit hard. Sparks flew. "We've got to take out their flagship," Evan said. "It's controlling the rest." Jack pointed. "They're the central one." "That's him, the hooded leader. Can we reach him?" Vex asked. Jack grinned. "Only one way too. Find out." Boarding the enemy flagship, the three of them launched in a stealth pod, dodging enemy fire until they crashed inside the Shadow flagship's upper hangar. Jack rolled out, blaster ready. Dozens of black armored guards charged at them. Vexa jumped forward with a plasma blade, slicing down enemies with elegant, brutal precision. Avon used energy waves to push them back. Jack covered the sides, shooting with surprising skill. "You're better than expected," Vexa said. "I used to play video games," Jack replied. They fought through hallways, deeper into the ship at last. They reached the command chamber. The hooded figure turned. His face was pale, his eyes burning with madness. "You should not have come," he hissed. Jack raised his blaster. "You should have left me out of your galactic drama," the man snarled. "The bond is unnatural. Your blood is dirt. The stars chose us, not you." Avon stepped forward. "The stars chose balance. And your time is over. The enemy leaders summoned dark energy, and die with your pet human," he attacked. The final fight blasts of red and blue light filled the chamber. Jack dodged behind cover, turning fire. Vexa fought the madman blade to blade. But he was strong, wild and supported with shields, but it wasn't enough. Jack saw his chance. He jumped from behind. Tackling the enemy to the ground, the man roared and threw him back with force, but it was enough. Vexa struck. Her blade pierced the enemy leader's chest. He gasped, then collapsed. The ship shook. He triggered a core meltdown. Avon shouted, "We have to run." Jack yelled, "Escape!" They sprinted to the hangar. Explosions chased them through the halls. They jumped into their pod and launched just as the enemy flagship exploded behind them in a fiery ball of light. The remaining shadow ships stopped without their leader. The fleet scattered. Cheers erupted on Zyrelli Prime. The Empress smiled. Victory was theirs. Back at the palace later, Jack sat with Vexa and Avon in the royal garden. His shirt was burned, his hair messy. But he was smiling. "You both saved me," he said. VXA leaned back. "And you saved us." Avon took his hand. "Now the future begins." Jack nodded together. They looked at the stars, knowing more challenges would come. But for now, that they had one, and somewhere in the galaxy. Earth watched, knowing their human had just changed history. The war was over. But peace was not yet guaranteed. Captain Jack Rains stood on the balcony of the Royal Zyrelli Palace, dressed in royal white armor, lined with silver. Below him, crowds of aliens and humans celebrated together in the crystal. Square banners of Earth and Zyrelli waved side by side. The air shimmered with floating lights, but Jack didn't feel like celebrating behind him. The two royal sisters entered quietly. Avon, gentle and calm as always, and Vexa, proud, scarred, and as fierce as ever. "You're thinking again," Vexa said with a smirk, stepping beside him. Jack looked at her. "You know me too well." Avayan joined them, brushing her hand against his. "The council is waiting." Jack sighed. "They want to give me a title, Prince Consort of the Starline Throne. That's a lot." Vexa crossed her arms. "Helped save the Empire. They want to reward you." "But I'm not one of you," Jack said. "I'm just a guy from Earth who gave someone a flower." Avon smiled softly, and that small action changed everything. Jack looked at both of them. "Do you think I can really be one of you? Lead your people? Share your throne?" Vexa raised an eyebrow. You fought beside us, bled for us. You married into our house. What else do you need to prove? Jack looked down at the cheering crowd. Maybe I just need to believe it myself. Avin stepped closer. Then come. Let them see who you are now, not as a soldier or outsider, but as part of our family. Jack took a deep breath, then nodded. All right, let's meet the galaxy. The coronation hall, the grand hall, was filled with delegates from across the stars. Humans, aliens, diplomats, warriors, all gathered to witness history. A wide staircase led to the throne platform, where Empress Soria stood. Holding a glowing crown of light, the crown of stars, it shimmered with ancient power. Only placed upon those who bore both royal blood. And the weight of leadership, Avin and Vexa walked beside Jack as the music played. Each step echoed with meaning. When they reached the top, Jack knelt. The Empress raised the crown high. In honor of unity, of love, and of unbreakable courage. I name you Captain Jack Rains of Earth, now and forever, Prince Consort of the Empire of Stars. She lowered the crown onto his head. A wave of energy burst outward, golden and blue, passing through every soul in the chamber. The people gasped. The bond was complete. Jack stood, and the galaxy cheered. 1 week later, hidden threats despite. The joy of the coronation, trouble still brewed. Jack sat at a round table with Vexa and Avin, along with Earth's ambassador and Xyreli war generals. They stared at a new map projected into the air. This symbol, said Vexa, pointing to a triangle wrapped in thorns, was found carved into the remains of the Shadow Concord's base. It doesn't belong to them. Avea narrowed her eyes. Someone else is pulling the strings. The Earth's ambassador, a sharp woman named Admiral Chen, leaned forward. We've seen that symbol on rogue satellites. Black tech. Hidden programs? Jack asked. You mean the Shadow Concord wasn't the final enemy? Vexa nodded grimly. They were only a weapon. Something worse is coming, Avin added. Something ancient. Something forgotten. Just then, a scout burst into the room. Message from the border systems. Ship just exited the Rift Nebula. It's not Xyreli, it's not human. It's not responding. Jack stood. Looks like I wore the crown just in time. The Starforge wakes at the edge of the galaxy. A massive object drifted out of the rift. It was shaped like a fortress, dark, round, and glowing with a pulsing red core. It was not made by humans or Xyreli. It was far older. The Crown AI in the palace, activated by Jack's bonding, spoke aloud. Warning, artifact class, Starforge, origin, unknown, Kundun. Jack stared at the screen. Well, that sounds bad. Vexa looked thrilled. Finally, something challenging. Avin frowned. It's heading for the Unity Arc, our main Stargate. If it destroys that, we lose half our colonies. Jack asked, Can we stop it? No, said the AI, unless the bonded one activates the Celestial Protocol. Jack blinked. What's that? Avin and Vexa exchanged looks. The last defense system left behind by the first Empress, Avin said. It only responds to someone who holds both royal blood and outsider origin. Jack sighed. Let me guess. That's me? Vexa grinned. Congratulations, Jack. You just became a key. The celestial core deep beneath the palace, Jack stood before a giant silver orb humming with silent power. Glowing vines reached from its surface. Connecting to the planet's heart, Avin placed her. Hand on one side, Vexa did the same on the other. Jack stepped forward and placed his hand in the center. Light filled the chamber. Symbols danced in the air. Voices of past rulers whispered through time. Then, the orb opened, revealing a golden blade. Floating in starlight, not just a sword, a command device. The key to awakening ancient star. Defenses hidden throughout the galaxy, Jack gripped the hilt. The blade responded to his touch, glowing with both human warmth and alien energy. Suddenly, fleets hidden in asteroid belts lit up. Old satellite cannons turned toward the stars and across the systems. Long-dormant warships powered up. The galaxy had found its guardian. Final battle. The sky above Zyrlith Starforge arrived, its surface cracking open like a mechanical flower. Inside, massive drones poured out. Dark and spiked, Jack stood on the command bridge of the ancient supercarrier, now under his control. "Ready?" Vexa asked, loading her plasma rifle. "Always," Jack said. Avin sat at the tactical helm, fingers dancing across controls, firing shield arcs, targeting drones. The fleet surged forward. The battle began. Thousands of ships clashed above Zyreli. Prime, Jack moved like he was born for it, giving orders, shifting formations, activating old tech with his new bond. The Starforge fired a blast at the planet Jack, raised the golden blade. A hidden shield grid activated around Zyreli, powered by the ancient systems. The beam deflected the crowd below. Cheered Avin launched precision attacks from orbit. Vexa led a boarding squad onto enemy ships. Together, the Bond Triad was unstoppable. Then Jack gave the final command. Target the core. Fire all. The United Fleet focused their weapons. A single massive blast of gold and blue pierced the Starforge's heart. It shattered, erupting into cosmic dust. Silence fell across the stars. Victory was theirs. 1 month later, a new era begins. Jack walked through the palace gardens, finally wearing comfortable clothes again. Avin walked on his left, Vexa on his right. "I still can't believe they built a statue of me," he muttered. Vexa smirked. "It doesn't even show your good side," Avin laughed. "It's the heart they honor, not the face." Jack smiled. "Well, my heart says I couldn't have done any of this without you both." He stopped and turned to face them. "I didn't just marry into royalty. I found my place, my family, my future." Avin took his hand, and we found our change. Vexa took the other, and a reason to fight again. Jack looked up at the stars. The galaxy was big, dangerous, mysterious. But now, he wasn't alone. And no matter what came next, the Empire of Stars had a human prince.